Hi everyone, I'm at a beautiful cafe here at Cloud9 in San Patong, Chiang Mai. And it's a rainy day and I thought it would be a good idea to sit down and talk a little bit more about how I came to teach in Thailand. There's been a few people who've reached out to me asking for more details. I came here through a program called CIEE, and essentially this is an American program or an American company that has various teach abroad programs. They have a teach abroad in Thailand, teach English in South Korea, and different living abroad opportunities. What they do for you is once you apply, they connect with an organization in Thailand called OEG, Overseas Education Group, and OEG works with CIEE to find you a placement in Thailand. CIEE also helps with the whole visa process and gives you a whole checklist, make sure you have all the requirements, tells you what you need. So that's how I came here. What do you need to teach English in Thailand? A bachelor's degree, but it does not have to be in teaching. So I studied science or neuroscience, and honestly, I've had zero teaching experience. I think the only thing I've indicated on my resume that might indicate some teaching experience is babysitting and saying how I would help with homework for the kids I babysat. So you need a bachelor's degree of any major, any specialization, and to be a native English speaker. Now, that is specifically for this CIEE program. However, I know there are many English teachers in Thailand who are from the Philippines or other parts of the world who are not native English speakers and can still get jobs here. However, native English speakers are higher demand. So the application process is quite straightforward. You need all your basic information in the application, your passport details, your diploma, or some proof that you are going to graduate by the time you go to Thailand, your academic transcript, and all of those basic information things. I should note, however, that so I applied to start teaching in November of 2021, and I think the application process has changed a bit, so what I'm saying may not be entirely accurate, but it will give you an overview of what you need to apply. So you do need 2 letters of recommendation, and as well, I had to write a kind of short essay a bit, they call it a personal statement, but really you're just answering questions they give you, why do you want to teach abroad, what do you think will be the most challenging part of this experience, questions like that. So I had to write my response to that, but I know the last cohort, they actually filmed. They had to create some video introduction, and I don't know if they were just introducing themselves in the video or if it was them answering those questions. I'm not really sure, but that last cohort had to make a video. Another thing in the application process is they ask you about your placement preferences. So they ask you about where you'd like to be located. So in the south, central, so Bangkok, or northeast, or the north. And so you can rate your preferences for location, and then, are you traveling with other participants in the program, or do you want to be close to other participants in the program, so other foreign English teachers? And then finally, what level of education do you want to teach, secondary school or primary school? Also, there was a medical report questionnaire that had to be completed by my family doctor, essentially just saying that I'm healthy and I'm in a good mental state to go teach abroad. So those are the main requirements in the application process. So after you apply, I think it took a couple months before they found me the placement here in Chiang Mai. And then from there, I don't know how strict this rule is, and I suspect it's not too strict. Depends on, it's a case-by-case situation, but they say, okay, once you get your placement, you either accept it or you are out, you cancel your program, essentially. So you're placed somewhere. If you want to continue the program, you accept. If not, then you're out of the program. I think under more some special circumstances, they will find you a new placement, but for the most part, you get your one placement and you decide, do I want to be here? When I got my placement, I was actually quite nervous the place it showed, it looked pretty rural, and I was just worried about, how was my experience going to be? And it just, once I received my placement, it just became more real. The fact that I was going to live in a whole new country. And so hitting that acceptance button was a bit scary for me, but it was totally worth it. And I'm so glad I came here. So yeah, I accepted it, and then from there, CIEE continues to help you with the whole visa process and getting all the proper documents in line for your departure. The whole program cost, now I think it might have increased since I applied, but the program cost me a bit over $2,000 Canadian, maybe $2,200 Canadian, and that excludes the cost I had to pay for quarantining and such, and my medical stuff for COVID, because I came during a tough time in the pandemic, so I did have to quarantine for 10 days. So that cost excludes those additional costs, but the program itself costs about $2,000 Canadian, which I know is expensive, but for me personally, it was worth it, because it's just, the whole visa process is very overwhelming, and there's just so much to do, and it's nice having this whole company who is taking care of you. Obviously you have to also be diligent and responsible for yourself, but just having a company who's done this for years and knows what they're doing, helping you, I think is priceless. And also that cost includes, when you get to Thailand, there's an orientation with OEG, so the partner company in Thailand, and that cost should include the orientation in Thailand. So that's includes your hotel costs. For me, it was a bit weird and not standard because I was in quarantine for 10 days, so we had a short, so our orientation was online, but there was a few days in Bangkok we spent after quarantine where we did different excursions, and that was all covered by the costs we had paid. Also, that includes insurance, and so the insurance is with iNext insurance, and you get the highest level of insurance. Yes, the $2,000 is pricey, but I think if you have the financial means to do that, I think it's worth it, but it is not necessary because there are other organizations that are much cheaper from what I've learned through my research. And for example, there's one company I learned about in someone's YouTube video. I think his channel is Thais in Thailand. I'll link the video either right here or I'll link it in the description below, but I think he only paid 2,000 baht. It's a Thailand-based company, but once you come to Thailand, they place you out of school, essentially. I don't think there's as much support as the CIEE program, but it's only 2,000 baht, so less than $100 Canadian, and paid so much money. Alternatively, you can possibly just get a job by looking for one yourself. You go apply directly at the school, or you look on the job boards, the teacher boards online to find foreign teaching opportunities. So that's another option. However, as a first-time experience, I think it feels a lot more comfortable having this program supporting you. Through my program, the salaries are pretty much fixed. The flat rate for a foreign teacher through my program is 28,000 baht per month, which for me is more than enough to live on. I don't have the TEFL certificate, so Teaching English Foreign Language certificate, I don't have. And you don't need it in Thailand. I think other countries like South Korea, it's required, but in Thailand it is not required. But if you do have that certificate, I think you make like 30,000 baht in this program. And but keep in mind, I think the TEFL certificate is maybe like $1,000 or more to do, and you're only making an extra 2,000 baht a month, so that's like $70-80 Canadian. If you have a bachelor's degree in education, so you're an actual teacher in Canada, America, whatever country you came from, then you can make around, I think, 32 or 33,000 baht a month. So depending on your experience really and your qualifications, that will affect how much you're paid. Also, the program has it such that your accommodation is included. So I make 28,000 baht a month, but then I do not pay for my accommodation. The school does that. And I'm not sure how common that is in other programs, because there's another foreign English teacher at my school who came through a different program, I think a Thai company program, and he had to figure out his accommodation on his own. So that's another perk about the CIEE OEG program. If there's any information I'm missing or any questions you have, please feel free to reach out in my comments. I hope this was helpful and informative, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.